Welcome to the meeting. Per the agenda, we're going to start off with the upcoming events and updates. We just last Saturday, had our wildfire community preparedness day. We had, I think, over 100 participants, and it was generally well received. We had a survey, and overall, there was good feedback. People generally liked the location, but they did request food and restrooms. Because we had it at the mall, we weren't able to provide food trucks or anything like that. And also per the survey, most of the traffic seemed to be from people who kind of came in from the mall. But thank you to everybody who was there and everybody who participated for giving up your Saturday. Did anybody else have any comments or anything they wanted to talk about regarding Wildfire Preparedness Day?
Hi, Stacy, it's Robin. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that participated in the planning and execution. It was a lot of effort and it was such a great day. It did not rain during the event and it got a little windy, but not too bad. And we had our passports that people had to stamp off and we gave out at least 100, if not a little bit more than 100. And most people had a couple of people with them. So I think it's safe to say we had at least probably 200 people come through, a lot of kids, a lot of really fun activities. So thank you everyone that participated in making that event successful.
Okay, I'll move on to the 5/9 WPW media event overview and Nelson Road project update.
Sorry, I was taking a moment to pull up my press release here. All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Sorry, folks, just got back from the field doing some unit prep out there. This has gotten mentioned before, and probably a bunch of the folks here are well aware of this project, but Solano RCD has been working on a prescribed burn project out at Nelson Road between Vacaville and Fairfield, just off of Highway 80. This is where the 2020 LNU Lightning Complex jumped the highway. And it's been a project with a lot of partners, lots of different landowners, fire agencies, air districts, pretty much everybody we can think of is working with us on this one. And as part of the we've got a firefighter type 2 course coming up this Thursday and Friday. Actually starts tomorrow morning out at the site. And as part of the live fire event that is, or the live fire component that is happening with the site on Friday, we are planning a press event the morning of Friday, May 19th, to generate some media coverage of the event, help raise awareness about the fact that there will be fire right alongside Highway 80, and it is not something that needs to be reported if it's part of this project, and also to send out messaging for Wildfire Preparedness Week. I've got the press release for the event, and give me a second. I will put it into the chat box here. So that link has got the press releases in English and Spanish. Those are up on our website, as well as some information about the project and the activity schedule. So this Friday, we've got the PIO, or Public Information Officers from Vacaville and CAL FIRE, who've been working their media contacts to get a whole bunch of folks in attendance. There will be broadcast of the speakers and the live fire. It will be recorded as well. And we will be having a number of other representatives on hand for members of the media to interview if they'd like to build their story in a particular way. We're pretty excited about this, and if conditions allow, we will have our we've got the live fire going, and that'll be the start of broadcast burning at the site. Any questions? So that's the May 9th media event. The rest of the project, there's planned live fire on May 15th as part of an ignitions operations course. And then the last 2 weeks of May, most likely the last week of May, starting Memorial Day, we will be working with CAL FIRE and Burn Boss to burn off the rest of the project area through an agency and a prescribed burn association. And that's it for that project.
Karen,
Yes,
so on Friday, is there gonna be any burning on Friday?
that's the plan.
It says live burn, but I wasn't sure if that meant that's the media release on live burn, or if you guys are actually gonna be burning on Friday.
Yes, so the plan is to burn off a few acres of the site on Friday. The students will be putting in hand line as part of the course and live fire, and so we've planned the media event to be just before the burning, and then as that concludes, if conditions allow, we should be able to light off a few acres and have members of the media watching that part.
And do you have a flyer that can be shared? So when the big burn happens and you're burning a lot of acres, you know,
Yes,
let us help. I mean, all of us have ways to just communicate and broadcast that message out to our local groups and
yes, I've got the flyers that thank you for asking about that. I've got the flyers that I was distributing at the Community Preparedness Day. And I will make sure to put those up on the website and email them out directly.
Okay.
Yeah, we could get those broadcast out pretty quickly.
Great. I will work on getting those PDF'd and sent.
And I just wanted to say thank you, Karen, for all your coordination and help with this project. I'm looking forward to a successful burn with you guys working with PBA. So you guys been boots on the ground working on that piece and getting it prepped, getting it ready to go with the PBA at RCD, and also with the Delta crews and everyone. So we're looking forward to finishing that piece off and assisting with you guys and with our cooperating agencies, Fairfield, Vacaville City. I think the district might be letting us borrow a water tender as well from Vacaville District and Sassoon Fire Protection District. So I just want to thank everyone for their coordination and help.
Everyone has been very, very helpful with getting this going. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
So next I had an agenda item from Pleasant Valley Fire Safe Council regarding defensible space assistance grant project update. Is there anybody that can talk about that item? All right, we'll skip that one for now. And I also had an agenda item from Glen Cove Fire Safe Council on an update on Glen Cove fire break cutting.
We are in the process of completing that now. We are about 75%. Basically, fire break encircling the Glen Cove area, anywhere from 30 feet to 100 feet, depending on the terrain. And hopefully we should have that completed in another at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Great, thanks for the update. Did you want to talk about your fireworks are illegal signs also?
Yes, that's our biggest problem here. We have ordered signs that are 4 by 6 feet. They are going to be placed around the entire city of Vallejo and in Glen Cove, reminding that fireworks are illegal with the municipal code printed on there, and the fines for if you're caught with fireworks. So it was pretty successful last year. We had a reduction in the amount of fireworks, and hopefully again this year we can reduce it even more.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about any of those items? So Rochelle, would you like to give an update on your shaded fuel break?
Sure. And also on the Green Valley Fire Safe Council. So the week of April 14th, we worked with CAL FIRE and CAL FIRE actually burned the remaining piles that covers approximately 23 acres. And what's important to note about those acres, many of you that went on that tour of the shaded fuel break, you could see the very steep incline. It's very rugged out there, very steep, rocky, and incredible dense vegetation around the perimeter now from, just on the edge. So working with Chief Wetstein and Chief Fryer, Chief Wetstein pulled together a bunch of crews, the Delta crew, the fuels crew, multiple engine crews, and I worked locally with the residents and just really tried to get the word out there, working with Fairfield Fire also. They put it on their bulletin board. Sassoon Fire Protection District had a water tender on site that was ready there. And it was just an amazing site. On some level, I wish people could have had on the ground view of what happened because the coordination was phenomenal. Our experience working with CAL FIRE from the inception back in 2019, when we first got going all the way through now, has been just incredible. So the residents, there was no concerns from the residents. Well, one night, some residents were a little concerned, I would say, but this is in an area where they're really high up and the winds up there are incredibly unpredictable. They also, if the wind, average wind speed is 30 miles per hour in Green Valley, Fairfield area up there, they can expect gusts up to 65 miles per hour because they're in the middle of these two canyon draws. And so it's really kind of a different kind of wind situation up there. But ultimately, people were incredibly grateful. All of the residents were cooperative. They were glad to see this happen. And it just went off without a hitch. At the wildfire event on Saturday, I actually asked Tina, and I don't know if there's any updates, but if there was anybody making any 911 calls. And at the time she said no. And I don't know if you guys have anything different to share on that, but really the goal was to communicate. I think it's really important that we do that. When we do this kind of work, our residents aren't as comfortable with the activities that we're doing, right? Because they don't understand the safeguards that are in it. They don't understand the importance of it in the same way. And so I think just really going above and beyond to communicate is critical. I just want to give a huge call out and thanks to Chief Wetstein and Chief Fryer and CAL FIRE and Sassoon Fire Protection District and Fairfield Fire and OES, everybody that came together to make this a big success. It was an incredible success. Yeah, I've got a bunch of images as well as videos. I'm hoping to put together a little bit of a slideshow that I can share with everyone later on. I think it's really important for people to get a chance to see what was happening. There was a couple of takeaways that I wanted to share with you all, and that is, first of all, we really need to understand what the local environment is and the conditions on the ground because they can be very unique. Even though we're all one county, what's going to happen out on Nelson Road probably is very different than what was going on out there in the canyons. In both situations, we have wind to contend with. We have slopes to contend with. So there's a lot of factors going on. They have much more visibility with I-80 going right there. But some of the material that has been dead and down for a long time that was cut is so dry that it almost disintegrated in front of you. So they would light those piles and they would just collapse. It was just unbelievable to watch how fast everything burned. And what this says to me is that the work that we're doing is really important, that we have to continue to be very proactive and reduce these kinds of fuels because if we faced another wildfire like we did with the LNU and in some of these other areas that has a lot of dense vegetation, it's going to go up really fast. And so it's also a very humbling experience. So thanks to Chief Wetstein again. And then that kind of finishes up those parts of our shaded fuel break. I'm proud to say that the first grant, we did almost all of our treatment goals within a year and 3 weeks. We completed our treatment goals less than a year this time. So it's really around working collaboratively together and kind of having that shared goal, which is great. Just a couple other updates. We did a partnership with Keep California Beautiful and California Volunteers with the Solano volunteers. And we did a community action day on Sunday. We had over 20 volunteers. We came together and we actually cleared the right of way on Rockville Heights Road. So it's a private drive with multiple residents that live up there. And it's a switchback that goes back and forth. It was heavily congested with vegetation. And so now the residents will have safer evacuation. There's going to be better ingress, egress. So that's pretty exciting. And then we're getting ready to kick off our big promotion around the reflective address sign signage program. So excited about that and next steps. So that's it for me.
Thanks, Rochelle. Did anybody have any questions for her about or anything else that we've talked about previously before I move on to roundtable discussions?
No, I'll just piggyback on that too, and thanks Rochelle for all of your coordination. It really couldn't have been done without you making all the phone calls and also putting all the property owners at ease. I think she was fielding all the phone calls from all the property owners that had some concerns and stuff, and levels are definitely heightened as far as awareness and smoke, ember cast, and things of that sort, and especially with the winds that they get in there. So she fielded a lot of that for us and helped us out with it. So thanks again for all your help, Rochelle.
Yeah.
Hey Stacy, it's Tina. I just want to thank Cal Fire and Rochelle. Just the communication is key. Rochelle, the email that you had sent us, we appreciate it, forwarding over to the PSAPs, not just our dispatch, but also to CHP Golden Gate and ensuring their PIO is aware. And then Cal Fire resharing your guys' posts. So we appreciate that. So our communities are aware of what's going on, not just within the county, but I know other people have questions in regards to how other counties have questions on how they can improve their areas. So it's pretty cool that they can hop on to our social media site and be like, oh, okay, this is the contact person. So thank you for the collaboration. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, you guys. As far as roundtable discussions goes, we wanted to discuss the Cal Fire wildfire prevention grant solicitations are opening in the next couple of months. And so we thought it would be a good idea to talk about who's planning an application, what they're planning it for, and if we can collaborate on proposals. So I don't know if anybody's planning anything, but we can go ahead and talk about how we can work together.
Well, we'll be applying again. We need to continue to work on that shaded fuel break. It's not complete. So we'll be going after funds again to continue to do the work that we've started.
Can these funds be used to remove eucalyptus trees?
I'm going to hazard a guess that the Cal Fire funding will probably have a priority of projects that are happening in SRA or state responsibility area instead of LRA. So it would probably depend on where the trees are. And I'm not sure if there's going to be, based on conversations that were happening at a recent Department of Conservation meeting that had a number of Cal Fire folks present. It sounded like there might be a shift away from acres treated and more maybe holistic deliverables as an emphasis on some other metrics that paint a bigger picture of the impact of work instead of just acres treated. So that's one thing that might come into play for something like eucalyptus removal, which doesn't cover a huge amount of acres, but is a large amount of fuel.
Yeah, it's a large amount of fuel.
Yeah, I can do some research on that, Ralph, and try to get back to you too.
Okay, all right, appreciate it.
And what are everyone's plans for Wildfire Preparedness Week? Did we want to talk about what everybody was doing for that?
Chris has his hand up, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
actually, I had a-
Chris, go ahead.
That's okay. I had a comment back to the last topic, and we're discussing several different options, and we have a list of different things we might want to do. And I mean, it's up for discussion. There are also some things, are we happy with the CWPP and the list of projects that we have and that sort of thing. One of the options for these meetings in the future is that we're actually bringing that list up and prioritizing it and saying, okay, where are we focused as a group, and kind of using a list of county priorities to drive kind of what we do. And sometimes our grants will follow that list, sometimes it won't, but it would be nice. And I don't know, maybe that's a topic for another meeting or for the executive committee or something like that. But that would be a change in kind of how we do that. But anyway, so that way, we're all kind of in on the discussion of the priorities that we decided in the CWPP and that sort of thing. Anyway, that's just an idea. Yeah, that's all I had to say.
I can reach out to you and talk more about it, and then
Okay, cool.
we can all talk about it as a group and see if we want to put it on the agenda for a fire safe council meeting or executive board, or how we want to go about it.
Super.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey Stacy, it's David Stevens.
Oh, hi.
Hey, on this topic, I think it would be of value, and maybe Chief Wetstein can do some research on the Napa County side, but I know the Napa County Firewise group had been doing some planning work on projects on the Mount Vaca area. If we could get some sort of an outline of what projects they have planned along the shared border between Napa and Solano, so we're not doing duplicative efforts. And then maybe even if we can piggyback off of some of their planning efforts to help develop mutually reciprocal projects along that shared border, I think that would be beneficial to all of us as well.
Yeah, so thanks for asking. So NCFF also is supplying some funding, and we are also sending up some of our Delta crews up there to work on the circumference around the Mount Vaca repeater site. The work that was going to be completed up there is limited just to the repeater site itself right now. But we are actually trying to get the environmental reviews cleared to even put prescribed fire up there to clean up around the repeater site. But as of right now, we've been just doing some pile burning and just cutting and piling around that whole entire circumference. So I can touch base with NCFF just to double check and see where we're at with that environmental review, and also see what if there's any other plans. I haven't heard of any, so I will double check that.
So I'm dropping a link in. The Napa Firewise actually has a GIS map of where all the projects are. So it's on their website. I just went and grabbed it and dropped it into the chat here. So you can click on that link, David. It'll show you what the different projects are that they're doing. So we've been, obviously, because we share a border with them too, and some of the work that we've been doing, watching what they're doing and kind of making sure that there's coordination has been really key.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Okay, sorry guys, I'm taking notes. Plans for Wildfire Preparedness Week. Does anybody have anything they want to fill us in on or discuss?
Well, just as I mentioned, we did the Community Action Day on Sunday. Obviously, the wildfire preparedness event on Saturday. We're hoping to host a green waste event also in May. So that's those are, and then launching the reflective address sign program.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as Glen Cove, we're gonna, in conjunction with Vallejo Fire, we're gonna send out educational material on 5 feet limit around your house, cleaning out your brush, cleaning out your gutters, more of the residential things that we have that we've been making people aware of.
Okay, thank you. David, I saw you come off mute. Did you want to say anything? Did you have anything to add?
Nothing specific for this topic.
Okay. Other business, do we have, I'm gonna open up the floor for any other additional topics or concerns?
Stacy, I'd heard someone mentioned that there was a possible plan for the chipper program for Solano County. I heard a bit about that
The Zoom
during,
meeting keeps telling me I have the wrong password. I can hear and see you guys.
Brian, was that for us?
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I was trying to send a text message to Dave Stevens. And I guess it is hearing me after. It keeps telling me I cannot log in because I have the wrong email. But if I'm talking to you, I guess I'm logged in.
You're in the meeting. Yep.
In the meeting.
Okay, it said I had the wrong password. I apologize. And I tried to get it to reset and it didn't do anything. It keeps telling me, do you want to leave? I don't mean to interrupt.
No
I do have a
worries.
question if I can bring it up. Is that
Sure,
okay?
Go for it.
sure.
Yeah, since I've managed to stumble in, I'll go ahead and mention it. Bailey Adams helped me put in it's not about this particular subject, I'm afraid. Bailey Adams helped me put in an application to CAL FIRE for a residential burn permit, which was going to happen on Saturday, last weekend. I had approval from them. I called the air quality people and they said, it's okay, it's a burn day. You need to check with your fire department. I tried to call the uh, fire department and they said, you have to call back during a working day. The only other phone number I had was emergency number, and it wasn't an emergency. I'm just asking, can I go ahead and use this burn pit permit? But I never could reach anyone. I called Bailey back. She gave me her cell phone number. And I also called someone else who said, well, go to the nearest fire department and ask them, drive there. So I drove to what I thought was the nearest fire department, the one on Canal Lane, which was supposedly opened a year or so ago, and a big thing with memorandum of understanding with Winters, and there's no fire department station there anymore. I didn't really want to drive all the way to Vine Street and back to just ask the question. So I guess my question now is, if I run into this again, who do I call at the fire department and what number?
So you said you did apply for a CAL FIRE permit, LE5 agricultural burn permit, and it was
No,
permitted.
it's a residential burn permit. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Okay, so it's a residential, smaller, less than 4x4 pile, correct?
Right,
And that was through CAL FIRE.
yes.
Okay, and so on there too, the phone numbers to call, usually there's 3 phone numbers. One is going to be the 24-hour emergency command center phone number out of St. Helena, which it's always staffed. That number would suffice for them being notified that you're going to be burning. So they always answer that. The staff
And can you
24/7.
tell me what that number is?
70. Let me look it up on my phone.
Because it doesn't seem to say it on any of the documentation I got.
Okay.
Hey, Ryan, while Rob's looking that phone number up, the Solano Dispatch Center is one number that you're going to want to call.
Okay,
And their number is 707 421 7090.
7090.
Yeah, so you can always call them. They'll know if it's a burn day and they can give you their approval if you got your permit with you. They
Okay.
can relay
so
that over to the command center as well.
If I can do that, if I get permission again, I guess I have to apply again for CAL FIRE if I want to try and do it this weekend or anytime in the immediate future. Is that correct?
Yes. So yeah, and usually there's an expiration date on those. Do you see it on your permit for the CAL FIRE permit?
I'm looking at it right now. Oh, yeah, 4/30/2026.
Yes, so usually that's on purpose because May 1st is usually our closure of open burning. And usually it's from there, once May 1st hits, it's the start of uh, temporary burning allowed only by an LE5, LE7, LE8, just a specialized temporary permit allowing someone to burn. It's kind of the opening of fire season for us around this time of year. So that's the reason why. So if you wanted to burn after May 1st, then you would have to request for some type of LE5, which is an agricultural burn permit, which is usually anything greater than 4x4. But that's the only way you can burn that pile if it's less than a 4x4 is if you have an LE5. We would come out there and do an inspection of the pile, make sure you have good clearance around the pile, you have water, and we educate you on all that stuff. And then we approve your permit either for a 2-week basis, 3-week basis, just depending on how many piles you have. So to get back to your original question, the phone number for the ECC, it should be on there. It's area code 707-963-4112. So that's the St. Helena ECC, which is the reason why you'd apply for a CAL FIRE burn permit because you live within the SRA.
Yeah.
On that permit, you're not going to have the phone number on there for the Solano dispatch center because you live within the SRA. It's a CAL FIRE burn permit. However, you also kind of live within the district of Vacaville, which is another weird thing too, because they also want permits done if you're going to be burning within their district. So it's kind of duplicate of efforts, but on that permit, you'd probably have the phone number to Solano if you had one of those. It's
You lost me. I'm sorry.
very convoluted, especially when you live in a fire
I'm
protection.
trying to write this down as you say it, but I'm
Yeah,
not keeping
some
up.
fire protection districts, they have their own burn permit process. And so we've been trying to get an alliance and had some conversations with our pre-fire shop on the CAL FIRE side and trying to see what we can do to either one, just to have the Vacaville district, if you live within the SRA, just go straight to CAL FIRE and that's it. You don't need a Vacaville protection district, but there also is LRA boundaries of Vacaville Fire Protection District, which they wouldn't need a CAL FIRE burn permit because they don't live in the SRA. That's the reason why they have a permit through Vacaville Fire Protection District. So I would like to see in the future that if you live in the SRA of Vacaville, that you don't need a Vacaville Fire Protection District permit for burning if you already got one from CAL FIRE.
So I shouldn't have bothered to call the local fire department at all? Is that what you're telling me?
No, it's still good to make that communication widespread because you got to think the responders responding to an incident, a smoke check, a neighbor calling on you type of thing. Those are the resources that are responding to your address. So if you were able to save that phone number for the Solano Command Center or Dispatch Center, give them a call and give them a
7091, 7090 number?
7090, yes, sir.
Yes.
7090.
yeah, and then
Okay.
that way, if they do punch out an emergency response for a smoke check in that area or something, they'll advise responding units that there is an agricultural burn or there is a burn going on at your address. So that way they can kind of have a heads up of what's going on. That it's probably just a controlled legal burn pile.
And sir, this is Robin Rains. I'm the emergency manager for Solano County. Just to clarify, at this time, currently right now, Vaca District does still require permits for their burns.
As far as I know, even if they live in the SRA, I believe they do.
Yes, they
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
So that's something I'd also need to apply for, just
Yeah.
like I did with the residential burn pit permit from CAL FIRE.
Yep.
Yes, if you live within the SRA, you would need both, sir. And if you would like to contact us, I can help you walk through that, explain this process a little bit more to you.
Okay, and what number would I contact you at?
You can call us at 784-1600,
707?
707.
Okay, and that's not a only call during working hours, weekdays number?
Well, that's the Office of Emergency Services. So we are open during regular business hours, but I'm going to be here well after this meeting, so you can call and I will answer.
Okay, but I couldn't have called you Saturday, I guess.
No, but you can call dispatch, but I'll just re-explain and walk through the process of what permits you need for your residents.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry I took up your time here. I didn't even realize I was hooked up. It kept telling me I wasn't. So,
And
No problem, sir.
Hey, Brian, you should
Uh,
have an email from the Fire Safe Council that has that information in it as well.
Ryan,
already received or is coming in?
No, I'll send it to you again, but you should already have one.
Okay, thank you. I don't think I've seen anything about that.
Okay.
Sorry for the confusion. I'll be quiet now.
Ryan, this is Karen Young.
Yeah.
I'll also add that the Vacaville Fire Protection District website does currently state that burn season is now closed. But they
Yeah.
also say that to obtain a residential burn permit, you do need to go in person to the Vine Street station during
So
regular business hours.
the one in Canal that Chris Garcia was going to be running is no longer in existence. Am I understanding? Just
There
behind
may
the
be a
times?
station there, but they conduct all of the administrative business out of the Vine Street station.
Yeah, so
I didn't see anything like a station. There was no sign, there were no
So,
equipment, there was nobody around.
yeah,
When I was Saturday.
Ryan, that facility on 420, I believe, is the address, Canal Lane. That is a volunteer fire station. I know it doesn't look like a fire station. It's more of a larger warehouse. It's a really
Right.
nicely built structure inside the compound of the kind of the public works. I think there's a couple other entities there.
Water agency out there.
Water agencies out there.
District,
You
yeah.
have CAL FIRE prevention officers under an MOU to also sleep and stay there too, our CAL FIRE prevention officers. So there's a bunch of different entities running around there. But as far as the burn permit that you're looking for, you're not going to get anything there because it's not a staffed 24/7 station. It's a volunteer station. So volunteers will come and pick up that equipment as a call as dispatch. So you're better
Okay.
going to Vine Street.
Okay, I guess I should have done that on Saturday morning, but it seemed like a long ways to drive just to ask a question and I couldn't get a hold of anybody.
I don't know if they would have been there because it does say during regular business hours, but a number of the folks that probably would have been able to answer it were working the Wildfire Community Preparedness Day. And then I think they drove past your vicinity responding to a fire out there as well. So it got pretty windy that day.
All right, well, pardon my confusion.
Yeah, one last thing is Chief Eberzini, just to clarify for the fire districts, anything that does lie within the state responsibility area, their permit's gonna supersede ours. Ours is mainly because we're local response, but if you already obtained one and you called in and just let them know you had one, it's gonna be perfectly fine for the fire district.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that now. Would have been happier on Saturday. Bunch of volunteers lined up and everything prepared and ready. But all right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Karen, you had a question or a comment?
Yes, I'd heard a little bit about the plans for a chipper program on Saturday, and I was wondering if there was an update on where that might be going countywide. If you had anything to share.
Robin can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have anything to share right now, but I know that we are working on, it is in progress. But I don't have any specifics unless Robin has something different she can share.
No, we're trying to figure out the best way to roll that out for the season, and it sounds like we may have an opportunity to leverage some funding available through Team Rubicon and some assistance through them as well, because they received some funding specific to fire fuel mitigation projects in this area. And so we've reached out and are working with them to see if we can utilize their right of entry process onto private property to leverage that for this season, at least, and what that looks like ongoing. We're still discussing with Solano County Public Works, and right of way versus right of entry has been an ongoing back and forth discussion.
As soon as we do have more specific information, I will roll that out to you guys, so you will have it.
Yeah.
Any other questions about that? Anybody else have anything, any other questions, concerns, topics of discussion before we close the meeting?
Just one quick thing, Rochelle, if you can send me, what you're working on as far as those reflective, address signs. I'd like to see if we can implement that here in Glen Cove, because we're having a lot of issues. People are going to these fancy signs that nobody can read, and, so the fire department's having a hard time finding addresses.
Okay, yes, and just so you know that the signs were kind of the specs were developed by the county, Solano County OES. So
Uh-huh.
it's their recommended specs. So I'll reach out to you.
Okay, thank you.
Just to clarify, the specs are from the engineers.
Oh, thank you.
It wasn't me.
County
I didn't
specs.
do it. Solano County Resource Management Engineers did the spec sheets for the address signs.
Okay.
I will add if you guys can do a huge favor, just get the message out however you guys can, either social media, but we have been getting escape burn piles already. So we've had quite a few over the last few days. Obviously, the one that popped up on Puda, that one's still under investigation. But if you guys can get the message out, if anyone doing fuels reduction work, we appreciate the work that the property owners are putting forth. But at the same time, too, make sure that they are in attendance of any piles, and also making sure that they, if they're mowing or weed eating, that they do it before 10 o'clock in the morning while the temperatures are low, the RH are high. So any type of outreach that you guys can do to get that message out to the public would be a great help. I appreciate it.
Okay.
And Tanya, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I'm from the Yolo side, just over the creek. I wanted to invite folks to, we're having a meeting, a workshop, a presentation and a question and answer period on grazing for fuel reduction, specifically cooperative grazing. That'll be next Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the Winters Fire Department, not that far away. And we'll have a guest speaker, Sarah Kaiser, who started several cooperatives in Sonoma County. So we're hoping people can control fuels in a simple, relatively simple way. Easier than burning.
Thank you. And I think you sent me a flyer regarding that.
I
and
did.
I can, yeah, so I can get that out. I'll get that out to
Yeah,
our board. So
yeah, it ended up, I sent it to the, well, David, I know David has it, and Leanne, so, and our Solano folks. Anyway, just trying to get more on the ground fuels reduction done by people who live there.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anybody else who had anything for the floor?
Hey, it's David, real quick. I just wanted to give everyone a quick heads up on something the Pleasant Valley Fire Safe Council had going on. I don't see anyone else from our group that was on that would have spoke to it, but today we started a fuels reduction effort in our area that was being funded by the California Fire Foundation, and it's for work in the Zone 0 and Zone 1. Most of our applicants are elderly, senior, and disabled individuals. We have 11 properties identified, and they're starting at the north end of Pleasants Valley today, and hopefully will be done on Tuesday into the Allendale area. But had some tremendous applicants apply, and we should see some pretty significant tonnage of fuels reduced around structure. So we're pretty excited about that program. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And you said you were expected to be done Tuesday?
We think we'll be done Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I would like to confirm the next meeting date and time. I have our next quarterly meeting would be Wednesday, August 6th at 4 p.m. Does that seem like an okay time for everybody at this point? Or if not, you can let me know.
Yes, can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I think with advance notice, it'd be nice if we did some in person. You know, I know that not everybody, I know it might be hard, like on Chief Wetstein and others, but you know, maybe a hybrid meeting with the intent of most of us showing up in person. Because you know, relationships are so much better when you get a chance to meet with one another. I just think it's if not at least a couple times a year, an in-person meeting will help with those relationship building. Because I see a lot of memes and only a few faces. Yeah, it's just not the same thing on virtually.
Sure, we can look at doing the next meeting in person since we have until August, and we can certainly work on that if everybody, if that's what everybody wants to do.
That's a great idea.
I think if we're gonna get out the CWP and run through projects, I think it would be great to advertise that in advance and tell people that, you know, bring your projects and your project ideas, and maybe we'll increase attendance.
So you're talking about for the next Fire Safe Council meeting, or is that something different?
Nope. Next
Okay,
meeting.
gotcha. Okay, thanks.
I am gonna just send a quick remark in the chat. If you guys can add my new partner, Jason Fryer. I think a lot of you have already met him, but he's my counterpart on opposite shifts. And he's also, when he has coverage, he has the same coverage for me when he's on duty, which is the Eastern Napa County and all of Solano County. So he just got started with us a few months ago, and he's been a great partner helping me out with a lot of the to-do list. So if you can add him to any of your guys's lists for email threads or anything like that, invites, calendar meetings and stuff, that would be great. I'm gonna send it right now so you guys have it.
Thank you. I'll add him to the list.
Thank you.
Is there anything else before we close the meeting? Chris, Rochelle, do you want to close us out?
Go ahead, Chris.
I feel like it's a radio show and I've got to come up with some crazy like ending of the meeting, which I can do, but I think it'll get weird if I do that. So anyway, I look forward to the new energy and the fact that we've got a good group here, and I'm also looking forward to having robust agendas like this. And I would say, Jess, maybe getting it out a little early so that we can comment or add more things to the agenda, that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is good. So thanks for everyone for showing up and for growing momentum on Solano wildfire prevention. Shabow.
Thanks, everybody. I'll get the notes out to you guys next week, either tomorrow or next week from this meeting. And we'll set up the Zoom link for you, Karen, to put on the website.
Sounds great. And the flyer that I've been distributing about the Nelson Road prescribed burn is up on our website, solanoRC.org.
Oh, cool.
At the Nelson Road project page. I can also email it out directly to you, Rochelle and Ralph.
No, I'm already downloading it.
Perfect.
All right, thank you
That's all.
all.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Stacy.
All right, bye, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.